Welcome everybody. Thank you for coming. Come on over this way. We're waiting for Hilda Solis, but we're going to get started because we know everyone is on tight time schedules, and we want to get the program in motion.
Stand in front of the mics there.
What's that?
There you go.
Okay. Well, thank you all for coming. We're very pleased after as many years as it takes to bring an affordable housing project to fruition to see everyone here and to thank everyone for all of the instrumental roles everyone in this room played to get us to this point. First, I'd like to, on behalf of Frank Fonseca, my partner who's dealing with his elderly mother, who I didn't expect and therefore didn't have him on the welcoming committee, Frank Fonseca and Cindy Michaels, and everyone in American Communities. We have Adrian Bussell, Sanjay Chan, Mary Danford here today. And we also have representatives from the contracting company. Richard Spunt is here, Richard, Brian Fitzgerald, and Javier Salcedo. So we're very grateful to have you all here, and thank you for that. As you can see around the room here, we put together a bit of history, because LA is often doesn't reflect on its history. And one of the things we're most proud of here today is the sign on the roof, which we'll be talking about later in the program. But starting with Westlake, the park back to 1890, this area was known as the Upper East Side of Los Angeles. It was a very upscale area. And to reflect that, we stand on the site of the whole mansion. It was built in 1906. That was built by the father of La Habra Valley. It was eventually replaced with the building that we're now standing in place of, the Hotel Californian, built in 1925. So when we, Frank, Cindy, and I first stood on the community room of the Bonnie Gray Apartments next door, which is a 53-unit large family affordable deal we started at least 10 years ago, we looked across at this lot. And at that time, it was a vacant lot. And we sort of wondered, why hadn't anybody built on this prime parcel on the corner of 6th and Bonnie Gray? And we began to ask ourselves, what's going on over there? There was a chain link fence, old couches, and Cindy pulled the title report, and we soon learned that the building that was here, the old hotel, which was vandalized and beset by arson fires, was torn down shortly after the riots by the city of Los Angeles. It was condemned and torn down. And when Cindy brought me in the title report, it was about 20 or 30 pages long, and we began to wonder, how could a building have $1.9 million of delinquent property taxes, $400,000 of debt to the city of Los Angeles, litigation from the adjacent property against the former widow who inherited the property. And we quickly realized that, history and a building like this, which took us from that point about 10 years to get to where we are today, really is what we have to look to at times. And it reminds me of the scene in the Dead Poets Society where, maybe we'll be like the Archduke of Austria there someday, and someone will recognize our picture, and maybe not. And with that, Cindy's going to introduce some of the financiers and equity providers later in the program. But first, I'd like to introduce Dr. Laverne Joseph, the Reverend Dr. Laverne Joseph from Retirement Housing. And like my mother always says, if you have a reverend in the house and you ever get a chance to pray, do it. So with that, Dr. Laverne Joseph, the President and CEO of Retirement Housing Foundation, the managing general partner of this property. Retirement Housing Foundation was founded in 1961. They have over 20,000 units now, 185 communities in 38 states. And with that, Reverend Joseph, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Mark. It's a pleasure to have worked with Mark and American Communities and their team for several years now, and there's more to come. So we're very happy to be here today. Shall we begin an attitude of prayer? Eternal God, we thank you for this day and for this great celebration. We thank you for what we have learned about the history of this parcel of land and the buildings that formerly stood here. But most of all, we thank you that this building is now here and will provide a place for 53 families to live a good life. We ask your blessing upon our gathering today, and we pray that what we do and say may be to your honor and glory. Amen. Well, Mark asked me to say some things about Retirement Housing Foundation. He gave a bit of an introduction. RHF was founded by two United Church of Christ clergy and a layman. They started off with $7,000 and this vision, and through a lot of hard work, through providence, and also through the tremendous need that there is for affordable housing around our nation, particularly in cities like Los Angeles, we've grown to the size that we are today. We are related to the UCC, I'm clergy in the UCC, but we serve everyone that we possibly can. Now there's a caveat on that. The caveat is that there is not nearly enough affordable housing in our nation, and particularly in cities like Los Angeles. I'll give you a real-life illustration. Many of you have probably seen Angeles Plaza, which is at 4th and Hill, built by my predecessors. It's considered to be the largest affordable senior housing in America, 1,093 units, almost $10 million provided by the former Community Redevelopment Agency, and 2 blocks of land provided by the city to renew Bunker Hill. The investment worked. You can see what's around Bunker Hill today. But we did a major rehab there a few years ago, and we had a number of apartments offline, and they served as temporary units as individual apartments were being done. Because the waiting list was stale, we decided to open the waiting list at 9 o'clock on a Monday morning. At 7 o'clock Sunday night, people started lining up. And within a 3-week period, we passed out about 2,600 applications, 1,800 qualified by age and not more than 50% of the area median income. The reality is only 8 vacancies a month. And that tells you something about the need. We open family communities, and with only a construction banner in LA, we'll get 1,000 applications or more. The same with senior communities. I think that people in government, as well as citizens, are focusing more on this need today. We all know that Measure H passed. We know that Measure S was defeated. And yesterday with Leading Age California, I was in Sacramento, and they asked me to pay a visit to 3 assembly members, because we have communities all over the state here. Brian Masterson, the 77th District in San Diego, Heath Flora, the 12th District in Modesto, and Mark Berman, District 24 in Los Altos. And I will tell you, in all the years that I have been in Sacramento to testify, I have never known the members of the Assembly to have as much knowledge and to sponsor as many bills and to be intent on making a difference for the citizens of California. It was very encouraging. So all of us together can make a difference, and we look forward to continuing to grow the portfolio. But it's not about RHF, it's about the people that we serve. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph, for those kind words. Before I introduce Council Member Cedillo, I'd like to have Erica come up on behalf of the property management group here. She's the on-site manager. She's been with John Stewart, with whom she's worked closely with Lori Horn and Donna Lamb. And I'd like Erica to, on behalf of the property management and the tenants that live here, she's going to introduce a couple tenants that live here. The building has changed their lives. And with that, Erica, thank you for all you do.
Hi, so Elizabeth, can you come up?
Okay. How about the tenant?
Hi, so this is Elizabeth. She's one of our tenants. She's in a 2-bedroom, and she's going to share a little bit about her story and how she became one of our tenants.
Well, first of all, thanks everybody for the opportunity. And,
Come up.
my-
Come up a little closer.
As a tenant, it's very important for equal housing, especially at age 25. And very grateful for this opportunity. And I'll think it. I have a kid with ASD, and whoever helped this community build is helping other young parents and other parents to stay with their kids and raise them instead of, how to say, sorry, I'm so nervous. But yeah, like I said, it's very important for the community and other people to actually get this. And it's more of a community thing, like, Dr. Joseph, right? Everything he said, he took everything off my words because that's what our new generation needs. And I'm so nervous, but I can't talk.
Spell your first and last name, please.
Licbeth, and my last name is PAC, which is Paz.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Introduce another tenant of ours. His name is Raul Alvarado. I'm going to translate for him. So he's one of our tenants, a 1-bedroom apartment, and he's going to share a little bit about his story. Okay, nada más esquivar su historia de cómo y de dónde viene. Sí, de la dirección donde venía antes. Okay, so I know a little bit about his story. So he came to me right when we were giving out applications, and I helped him. I helped him fill out his application, and we mailed it for him. So his story is he comes from a building around the block, but he has his wife, and his wife is disabled. She's wheelchair bound, and the building they come from didn't have an elevator, and he lived on the 2nd floor. So anytime he had to take his wife to doctor's appointments, he had to get his neighbors to help them come down and bring his wife down. So it is a blessing for him, and he's been very, very thankful to us for having to been able to be housed in this property, because now he doesn't have to deal with not having an elevator. So that's the story.
I can't tell you how many times we've opened a building and we've heard about the importance of an elevator. And Cindy and Frank will recall, as will Tim Elliott from the housing department, when we opened a building in Koreatown, Hobart Heights, a woman brought everybody to tears with the fact that she lived in a building and had a disabled daughter, and she had to carry her up 4 flights of stairs every time she wanted to go in and out of the building. So Richard, every time the elevator breaks down and you get calls on the weekend, know that it's a hired column. With that, I'd like to introduce Council Member Gil Cedillo, the councilman recently re-elected 1st Council District. Before the councilman speaks, I'd like to recognize from his office Gerald Gubaton. He is goes back several years with us on this project and helped considerably with planning and helping assemble the financing. Hugo Ortiz, the field deputy from this area. Silvia Robledo, also a field deputy, and Freddie Seca. We couldn't have done this project without the support of the councilman. He's a strident advocate of affordable housing, elected in 2013 to the 1st Council District, and prior to that serving 14 years in the California State Assembly. He's a true champion of affordable housing, and with that, Councilmember Cedillo.
Let me also acknowledge my Deputy Chief of Staff, Tony Ricasa. How are you? My assistant, Silvia is also here. Everybody else from my team. Steve Weingarten with a camera in his hand right there. This is for the magazine. Okay. So, this is nice. Okay. This is nice. What a great way to start a second term. You know, let me tell you something. We were here 4 years ago. And I tell my staff all the time, we're not politicians. We're public servants. We're in this business to serve. This is our blessing. This is our calling. This is a gift that we get to help other people, to help lift them. My wife, who passed 14 years ago, I think about every day, she reminded me of that all the time. She would say, well, would you rather be in the position of helping or needing the help? She says, that's your only choice. Sometimes, you know, we walk out the street, there's homeless people, there's incredible challenges right in this area. Right in this area, incredible challenges. And poverty and the challenges of homelessness are really inconvenient. But she always reminded me, do you want to be the person who needs the help, or you want to be the person? She says, God has blessed you. God has given you skills, capacity, and ability to bring people together and do things. And so a morning like this is just a culmination. It's just one of the many examples in a life of service. And so our team is here. We're very excited to start the second. But there is some part of politics that's part of our job. We have to win elections. It's very odd. You don't get the tenure. No one acknowledges terms of service, Reverend. You know, you don't get a bigger church. You don't get higher up in the organization. No. You have to be challenged every couple of years. And so we've met that challenge. But I say that because we also raised the challenge when we were candidates 4 years ago. And this lot was our poster story, right? Our poster board for the challenges of this district. And we criticized the previous administration, maybe unfairly. But we criticized them because this was, as you said, blight. It was the epitome of blight. Couches, chairs, everything broken, ironing boards, a fence. Finally, we got it fenced off, but then people were hanging stuff on it. It was the perfect photo of urban blight in America. And so we used that. We said, you know, if they're so great, they know how everything works, then why haven't they been able to fix this? And so, as you know, this became a priority for us, right? Periodically, I come to the staff, and where's that project at, right? Because we cannot not have that done. And Gerald and everybody in the team that was involved in it knew this was a priority. We're very excited. I want to acknowledge a couple of aspects of this. 52, 53 units of housing, 1, 2, 3 bedrooms. People can live here with dignity and respect. The design and the architecture is as it should be. The building of this is as it should be. Quality housing. We're not talking little studios. We're not talking off the main thoroughfare. We're talking right at the core of this area that will be revitalized, that will go from being on the verge of this calamity that we see, our challenges of homelessness, to the vibrancy that it once was. And the quality of the architecture and the quality of the construction of this building is essential, because we should build housing as if we're building it for the the most prosperous members of our society. That should be the baseline, and then everybody should have access to it. Everybody should have access to it regardless of their income. And that's our vision for this district, is that we will build quality, substantive, elegant housing. We'll do it using the best of smart growth tactics. We'll put it right on top of the train lines. We'll put it, transit centered. This is a LEED qualified, I think. Gold, right? Qualified building. So, Supervisor, we have the highest of quality here, and we should. Let the board have the highest standard of quality as anything else. This is the place and the space where we're all should be. And so I'm very proud to be here this morning. It's an incredible way to get started, to get rejuvenated. It took a long nap this week. But I'm very excited to be back because we have other projects and other partnerships. The supervisors here, we had a chat just a day, 2 days ago. We have opportunity to make this abundant in this district, the supervisor's district, and in the city. And there is no reason why we shouldn't. There may be challenges in Washington, that's Washington. There may be gridlock in Washington, that's Washington. But here in this city of angels, we're working together. We're tearing down the silos, we're collaborating, we're embracing the home builders, we're matching up the right tenants for the right locations. And we're going to build a city of angels where every person can live. And you can see this building as a manifestation of that, where every person can live with the dignity and respect God intended for all. Thank you so much.
On the topic of architecture, a lot of the architecture these days we see around the city is trending towards the modern. Call me a throwback. I went to school in Santa Barbara, and I said, if it's good enough for Montecito, to Mark Lehman, who's here, one of our architects, Richard Pranis, Richard Solaris, Chris Mack, it's a real collaboration. And while there was a little resistance at the beginning, they finally came around and designed it really in the tradition of something you'd see in Santa Barbara or Montecito. And so we pride ourselves on architecture. We pride ourselves on the LEED Gold certification the project received. The plaque is posted in the lobby. For those of you that don't know, from the very beginning of the project, starting with the demolition, it regulates where various construction waste could go, what needs to get recycled, and then with respect to the building itself, it regulates everything from airflow, Title 24 energy efficiency, the fact that we take out no carpeting, so there's no dust mites, there's no bed bugs, it's all vinyl flooring. We have cabinets that are formaldehyde-free, which costs more money, but the formaldehyde doesn't leach into the internal air environment for the development of the children. We vent the stoves and the bathrooms to the exterior of the building, so we move the air around. And so tremendous detail and care is taken during the construction process. It's tested and retested by folks like Dave Scott and others who really monitor every step. And unbeknownst to us, when we took out the hotel, the reason we took 18 months on this project is they had an underground pool. And so it wasn't called the soils tests, but we were taking out boulders as big as cars. So normally we'll do a building in 16 months. This one took 18 months. But we're proud of the fact that it's LEED Gold and a healthy environment for the children. With that, we have as our next guest Supervisor Hilda Solis from the 1st District for Los Angeles County, elected December 1st, 2014. Prior to that, she served as Secretary of Labor, confirmed in 2009, first Latina in the United States Cabinet. And with that, I turn the floor over to you. Thank you.
I got the best job. I've only been here 2 years and look at this. I really want to thank the County of Los Angeles, the Board of Supervisors, because they made a $1.1 million investment. And also working with the city, with the councilman here, and also with the other stakeholders. And I'm really glad to meet all of you and to know that we can hopefully set a process to move forward so that we can create more affordable housing. I'm so happy that we were able, at this point I can say that the housing measure that the county put on the ballot also right now is leading. And we hope that the results, once it's certified, will indicate that it indeed will help us sufficiently provide wraparound services and some additional housing for people who also are in need of that assistance. Because it's great to have a roof over your head, but if you can have a job, if you can have the appropriate medical attention and all of the things that sometimes we forget about, then you're going to have real positive effects as well. But affordable housing, important. Most of the individuals that I represent in the first district, for East Los Angeles, just to give you an example, median income there is around $24,000. So you got maybe two working parents, and it's still not enough to get a down payment and afford anything. And it's ridiculous. So I'm happy that these kinds of efforts are occurring and that we have the support of all of our departments at the county as well as the city. And it is a new day. It's the first time that I think many of us have seen this kind of transition where the city and the county of Los Angeles and even our state partners are all working together with our business owners, our developers, and also with our philanthropic folks that are also helping us see the appropriate growth that's necessary here in the county. I just saw a statistic where in the county of Los Angeles, obviously we have a shortage right now of about 500,000 affordable housing units. So we can't even begin to apply everything that's needed, but if we have optimism, if we have hope, faith, I think we can go a long way. So I'm just happy to be here. I'm glad that the county made this available through our efforts, and we want to do more. I've already spoken with a council member who just got reelected, my friend, Gil Cedillo, to see how we can expand the opportunities throughout the county of Los Angeles and throughout the district here. So again, muchísimas gracias. Es un placer estar aquí hoy para declarar que tenemos viviendas para la gente que están trabajando cada día, que merecen este apoyo, y espero que podamos a seguir luchando para la comunidad, especialmente las familias que sufren cada día y también a sus hijos. Y me da bastante gusto estar aquí con el representante Gil Cedillo, que estaba trabajando desde 4 años ya en este proyecto, y también el condado de Los Ángeles, que pusimos casi más de $1 millón. So, muchísimas gracias. Thank you. It's really a pleasure to be here, and how exciting it is for Los Angeles. Thank you.
With that, I'd like to turn it over to Cindy Michaels, who on behalf of Frank Fonseca puts all the financing together, and she'll be introducing the next round of critical speakers. Cindy Michaels.
Next we have Tim Elliott with the Housing Department. They provided great funding, and I couldn't add to this work without the Housing Department and his staff. Mercy over here, especially Bruce. He helped greatly with the closing of this project. Tim, you want to say a few words?
Thanks, Cindy. On behalf of Rushmore Surveillance, our general manager, I'm really glad to be here. This team is on a roll. This is the 11th project we've opened with them, and we broke ground on 2 of them last week, down by the cross of the Expo line and the new Crenshaw line. So we're just tremendously excited. We financed the building behind with them, and we also financed the restoration of the Barbizon Hotel next door, which has its own story. Dr. Ramon will go into, but I wanted to thank my staff, as Bruce Ortiz, who was the project manager, Marlene the Zakarian, who's our bond supervisor, Carmen and Laura. They issued $10 million worth of bonds for this project, and we gave them another $3 million in federal home funds. So I see my friend Emilio at the county, where I worked for 15 years, so it's like old home week. So thank you so much.
County, and his staff is wonderful to work with as well.
I'll be brief, but I didn't want to pass up this opportunity really by saying that, affordable housing is an issue that touches It's not a them problem, it's an us problem. And I really wasn't prouder than just a couple of days ago when, local Angelinos passed Measure H. We had Angelinos also pass Measure Triple H to build more affordable housing in the city. And even though we're hearing a lot of noise out of Washington in terms of possible cuts, it's really encouraging to see local citizens stepping up and seeing this as an us problem. Where I hear stories that we said and really the change and stability that it's brought in her life. We can only think back to the stability that we had in ours when we had affordable housing. I grew up as part of 2 affordable housing programs. One was the David Phillips Foundation, and the other one was the Mrs. Tucker Foundation. And you've not heard of either one of them because they were private landlords that really took an interest in my family and in my mother, who they saw struggling going to work every day, and really kept our rents at below market levels. Really what this particular development does. And there's not enough of those landlords around, so it's great to see the developer community stepping up in such a big way, because affordable housing really creates stability, and it allows families to refocus on family, on things that matter, to thrive, not just survive. It allowed my mother to focus on work and allowing her 5 kids to go on to college. Without that stability, who knows where that would have been the outcome. But that's why developments like these are so important, and they're about people, they're about all of us. So thank you for having me.
Next, we have Bruce Nelson with Credit Capital. They raised the equity for this project and a number of other projects throughout Los Angeles, and do it with funds.
Thank you. Welcome. It's a pleasure to be here, so many friends and familiar faces. Tim has done 11 deals in the incarnation of American Community System. And we've done 9 of those, and one of the groundbreaking we had last week. We'd like to congratulate, on behalf of Credit Capital and the Richmond Group, American Communities, their development team, RHF, the incoming managing GP. Bank of America, I don't see the handbook. Okay. Who is our preferred equity execution in Los Angeles. They actually did the Times Square report. We did it next door. So we're very happy to have them as partners in the deal as well. So the equity financing and construction financing. Various state and local lenders, Tim, some of the other people, TOD representative here, big package of financing, 5 layers of permanent financing on this deal. I would recognize 2 people specifically for getting this deal to where it's at. Gorgeous, beautiful, safe community environment. First, Mark Walther for spending almost 10 years getting this site entitled under contract. When we were doing Bonnie Gray in 2010, we would always come over and we'd always say, why can't we get that site? Mark would initially say, impossible. And then we'd come back 6 months later. Don't count on me. A year later, we make it. 2 years later, I think we've got it. It takes a lot of perseverance, personally, for their team, which really Mark to do that. The other kudos I would throw out is Cindy and Frank. This is a 4% bond deal. So the equity is about 1/3 of what it would normally be on a 9% deal. So to put together a stack of financing, the budget was $21.5 million. Bank of America put $8 million in equity. 13.5 is soft financing, and 2.7 was covered by CCRC, which is the preferred permanent lender in Los Angeles for affordable housing. And then you have the balance represented by Tim's firm, CID, home funds, TOD funds, mentioned the county grant, and HCD money, about $2.2 million. To put together that stack in as competitive an environment as we have now is nothing short of miraculous. It takes a lot of work. So kudos to Frank and to Cindy, who were instrumental in making that happen. In fact, we had a gap on the Crenshaw deal that we did groundbreaking on last week of $1 million, probably within 10 weeks of the closing, which had to happen. The bonds have to be closed within 150 days of construction start. And Frank went out and somehow got an extra $1 million and funded that gap. It's not an easy business. It's not for the weak of heart, and everybody here is very much committed. So I would like to, again, congratulate the entire development team, and more importantly, I would like to congratulate the tenants. And I hope they know that we all wish you success in raising your families in a beautiful, safe community environment. Thank you.
The premier permanent lender throughout the state of California, not just the city of Los Angeles.
That's right, statewide.
Well, good morning and congratulations to all. And to Mark's point over here, this building looks like it's been here forever, in a good way. That's really amazing. The story is amazing. And Dr. Joseph, I heard you say this at a grand opening up in Oxnard a couple of weeks ago. This issue of the wait list. I mean, as a permanent lender, we love it, right? That means our mortgage gets paid all day, all night, because that's what we do for a living. But that's so heartbreaking to think that you have 53 families who get to live here and another 400 who don't. So we can't stop. We have to keep raising that money. Kudos to LA and the county for raising those funds. And from a CCRC standpoint, our relationship with Cindy and Frank and Mark goes back about 16 years. Our relationship with RHF, not quite as old, but certainly developing and deepening. And we couldn't be prouder than to be here today for folks like Lisbeth and the folks that get to live here, and it really will change your lives, as it does ours, every time we get to see your faces. So thank you all.
A couple other people I'd just like to recognize. The actual people who build the building, subcontractors. I see several friends, framers, electricians, plumbers, people who get money. We pride ourselves on safety, knock on wood, safe job, no injuries. But we're very grateful to all of the contractors and other professionals that made the deal happen. And finally, one little tidbit of history, because I love the history. In chasing this site, we had several brokers try to get to the woman, the widow, who inherited the property from her husband that owned the hotel. She was a recluse, lived up in West LA, and it slipped away a couple different times, and I got a call probably 3 or 4 years after I started the process from an attorney that I knew who said, hey, by the way, I got a call from a guy who has the site under contract that you want to build, or that you've been trying to build, and he's going to do market rate housing. And I said, oh boy. And so Josh White's here, and we talked some sense into him. And through his help, also an attorney, he helped unravel the title issues and keep the county at bay from foreclosing on the property taxes, and really put the ball in motion. And so we're grateful to Josh for that. Last but not least, the neon sign. Yes. The neon sign. First thing I heard is, oh, if you ever do that deal, don't forget the sign. So we put a montage together. Adrian is responsible for that with Paul Greenstein. He's here. He's going to speak a bit about the sign, which, as we delve deeper into history, is quite intriguing. Paul.
Thank you. I'm not going to talk too long, but I think the first thing regarding history is the question is, why are we here today to look and praise and talk about what was up until recently just a wadded up, rusty piece of metal sitting abandoned in a city park. History is a large part of what makes us human beings. It's part of something other than just being simple processing machines looking no further than the 2 feet we stand on. History gives us a sense of our time and place in the world, that we can pass on our mark and the marks of our predecessors for future generations. So this is what this sign represents to me, and I hope to all of you, and Really quickly, the building was built in 1925, which is right on the cusp of between incandescent light bulb signs and neon signs. Originally it was built, you can't really see it, but this was an incandescent light bulb sign, as are these. By 1927, neon was the thing. It was a big deal in the country. And so the owners of this building applied for 2 permits, one for east facing and one for west facing. These were going to be neon signs. Permits were taken out, I think, February and November of 1927, and the signs were built soon after that. The building in the neighborhood kind of went downhill. By 1942, all neon signs on the West Coast were blacked out. 1945, when they went to turn them back on, there was really nothing to turn back on. They'd been neglected, they were broken, they were old, and so these signs never went back on. The building was demolished in 1995, I believe. Anyone want to correct me? 95. The signs were cut to pieces and brought to storage at Griffith Park in a park. They stayed there for 20 years. During the 20 years, people danced on them, had parties on them, smashed them up. You can kind of see over on the left, the first 2 pictures, how bad they were. My first part of the job was to cut what was remaining of the signs into pieces that could be salvaged. The sign was right on the cusp of irretrievability. We took all those pieces off, we metal stripped them. I spent probably over a period of 6 months, a lot of time, hammering, stretching, pulling, bending, getting things back into shape, riveting and welding them back together. One of the problems was that the original metal from these signs was so poor and such poor quality, even when it was new, that we couldn't really bodywork anything. It just mushed, it was like tinfoil. The metalwork was done. I ascertained the original colors, which were orange and cream, repainted, and then reinstalled back up on the roof on a new framework that the building had supplied. In the last week, I've been over there a couple times wiring it up, and it now works. One more real quick note in closing. I'd like to note that it was pointed out to me that this sign signifies kind of a sadly unusual meeting of preservationists, developers, and the city government. A successful meeting of these elements usually at war with each other. So let's continue to have a common thread, a meeting ground that this project represents, and move forward to a better Los Angeles.
And so with that, we'll be joined by Dr. Laverne Joseph for the benediction, and we will pray that the election gets certified, that age passes. And most of all, we pray for good health.
Well, I should, before I do the closing prayer, acknowledge all of the RHF people that are here. Raise your hands. I'm not going to introduce you one by one, but we have a whole team of people here. The national headquarters is in Long Beach, where we have over 100 people servicing our communities and developing new communities nationwide. And then I also wanted to say we have our annual report over there. You're free to take it. We have the RHF today. We have a listing of our community, which shows by state and where they are. It's always out of date, but it's helpful to have. And this year's annual report was called RHF Providing a Place You Can Call Home. And experience says that unless you have a good place to live, education, a good quality of life, health, opportunity are pretty much an illusion. And that's why we do this. So shall we pray? Eternal God, we thank you for this celebration, for all of the efforts that have brought this into being. And we pray for those who now live here and those who will live here, that it may improve the quality of life for them. We are happy to be part of this and to make a difference, because in serving others, we serve you. Bless all of us in our respective services, and bless this place, that it may continue to stand as a symbol of what is possible if we all work together. In your name we pray. Amen.
And if you'll join us at the portico, we're going to actually do the ribbon cutting. We have a couple tenants that have agreed to leave their units open if you'd like to see units. And the roof sign is accessible. We place carpeting on the membrane. So if you want to...
So, first of all, there's Harpo. Hi. Let's talk a little bit about where we are right now. We are
Harpo's always everywhere.
Hi. Hi, buddy.
Okay, you two. Talk neon.
Okay.
And history.
Oh, hello. I'm Nathan Marsak. Let's talk a little bit about the Hotel Californian and its newly restored, newly installed neon sign. So here we are. This is the site of the Californian and the Paseo, California now. Willits J. Hole had. People will tell you that this was built in 1906. But of course predates 1906. But that's when Willits J. Hole, the developer of the La Habra Valley, moves in here. Big stately white column mansion, great conical tower. And they stay there until about 1923, at which point it turns into the Moody Furniture Studio, where they suggest new ideas, and you can come here and shop in quiet elegance. But then, a developer named W.J. Hollifield gets a hold of the property. And he says, I know what to do. I'm going to go contact the great Edward Butler Rust, and Rust in confluence with the also great Luther T. Mayo, going to build the Hotel California. Now Mayo, you know, because of stuff like the Chateau Elysee, and as we'll discuss, Mayo and Rust have a very important Los Angeles history. So let's talk about what Edward Butler Rust puts here. Now, first let's talk for a second about Edward Butler Rust. Famously with Arthur Barnes, they start Ye Planery, which was one of those early pattern books. But they were the first to actually really popularize the bungalow. We wouldn't have bungalow culture in Los Angeles without Edward Butler Rust. But then by about 1914, Rust is moving towards apartment houses, including, for example, the Shallon at 1330 South Olive, which still stands, the Versailles on South St. Andrews. If you know the Windsor, where the Prince is, that's Rust. You know the Hotel Maryland in California, that's Rust. I mean, the man is prolific and he's very good. And what you have to understand too is that right after he does this, Luther T. Mayo says, I want to do an apartment building. He hires Rust, and they put up the Los Altos, the most beloved, National Register historic cultural monument, and that was exactly after this. So what's this? So here we have the Hotel Californian with these wonderful, this is all LA pressed brick, California art stone, this wonderful fluted parapet, and they pulled permits in October of 1924. It opens on April 1st, 1925. Ava Lyman and the Coconut Grove Orchestra, while people play from noon to midnight. Huge deal. The interior is all done. Follow me.
In balloons?
In balloons.
Take those with you, Nathan.
Done in this wonderful Spanish style, involving, of course, this is all faux stone, and this is hand-wrought ironwork fixtures. Wonderful skylight. And the ceilings are all Heinsbergen, the incredibly important muralist. In fact, this is the last thing Heinsbergen does before he gets that famous contract in 1924 with Alexander Pantages to do 22 theaters of his circuit. So this is all, that lovely dark rubber with all that gold leaf.
Yes.
And there's a whole story about Archduke Leopold, but I won't even go into that.
Will you give us your impression of the Archduke? Yes, thank you.
I'm an Archduke. So what happens? So the Hotel Californian goes along in its merry way, becomes an apartment hotel through the noir 40s, the post-war LA of the 50s, and then of course the neighborhood changes very much, especially via the Guatemalan and Salvadoran troubles of the late 1970s, and with that, where a lot of people moved up into Mexico, and of course with the Latin American debt crisis of the early 1980s, and the peso crisis of 1994, or the early 90s, I should say, this became a very different neighborhood. And a woman named Renwick, of course, does a famous expose in the LA Times about substandard housing, or slum housing as it's more commonly known. And she describes the Californian in particular as the hallways are knee-deep in trash, there's holes in the walls, women are having their children taken away from them because of all the rats. The cockroach infestation was infamous. And the city says, like, okay, let's go find the owner and make him bring everything up to code. And of course, nothing doing. Yeah, no, that's not the so they condemn the place as a fire hazard. His name is Syed Ali. They find him in Vegas, and they said, Syed, buddy, look, your fire doors are basically painted on the wall. They're not even real. You don't have any, emergency fire exits. And he goes, hey, what are you supposed to do? So they fine him like $13,000 in code violations. He has to pay restitution to all the 50, 60 people that moved out, and he has to actually pay the city for the cost of tearing the place down. So it sits. And it sits, of course, as an empty field till very recently. Now, it opens in 1925. The lease is April 1st of 1925, famously. The lease is sold to a St. Louis group by Fred Ballin in 1927, who, as Paul said earlier, in February of 1927 and then in September of 1927, they took out 2 permits naming the Electrical Products Corporation as putting up these 2 great brand neon signs, which were these sort of touchstones of Los Angeles. And of course, famously, yes, when they tear the place down, they were good enough to save the neon signs, which surprises me still to no end. And they stick them up there in that little, Riverside Drive park, where they rot away, and people party on them for years on end. It is when so Diane Keaton sees one of them and says, like, I want the good one. And she cuts it up to spell like Diane Keaton in her backyard. And then she sells her pad and leaves it there. So no one knows what happened to it. But the other one, the rotted out one, in the great Paul Greenstein, does all his magical, mystical restoration work. And now this wonderful Santa Barbara style, Spanish colonial, very good, much better than we ever would have expected to have come with 21 million of your tax dollars, is built here with the grand and great 1927 Hotel Californian neon sign, restored and in its glory. Again, I thank you.
Congratulations, you can kiss the balloon.
Let's go check it out.